Hi guys, this is Randy and Rob from Smokin' Hot and Saucy, and this is our first attempt at a YouTube video of just sharing a bit of a story about our journey of Smokin' Hot and Saucy, and as we go to events and things about barbecue and our life, and just sharing with everyone what we do, and so you can get to know us a little bit better.
And we'll do some tutorials, everything we cook, brisket, some small classes will be available online through the YouTube channel. So subscribe and check us out, and follow our journey. We've got some of the biggest cookers in Australia, and we crane them around the country, and we cook loads of barbecue. So as we grow over the next 6 to 12 months, I'm sure there'll be some pretty exciting things happening for us and around the Australian barbecue community as a whole, which we'd like to be able to share with you guys. So we met in Canada. Randy used to work for the Dallas Stars ice hockey team, and they were in Calgary playing the Calgary Flames. We met one night, exchanged phone numbers, and then basically fast forward 10 years, we're married with three kids. I was a coal miner since I left high school, electrician by trade, electrical engineering degree as well, and basically decided it was time to get out of the coal mining industry and move on, do something different, spend more time with the family as opposed to leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning and getting home at 8 o'clock at night. So now we live at home, we just up all the time cooking barbecue as opposed to going to an office and working in a coal mine.
Our kids are often running around our events or our business with us. We are very much a family business. So we've got our daughter is the eldest. She's going to be 9 soon, and we've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. So we started this journey literally the day after our youngest was born.
Yep.
He popped out, and we went to a barbecue competition the next day.
Yeah, so it was Port Macquarie, 2016. He was born on a Wednesday, and we're at Port Macquarie on a Thursday for the barbecue comp. So, and we'd been cooking for the public before that for about 6 months at markets and private catering and things like that. And then I guess fast forward to August of that year, we bought the food truck up at Burleigh Heads when we went up to the Burleigh barbecue competition up there with Greg Dean's competition, which was really good. So we had a barbecue comp on the beach. Then we found a bus that we bought that we sent to Van Diemen's, which got transformed into our food truck, which is now at the lot in Newcastle. 116
Maitland Road, next to Islington Liquor.
So we've been there it'll be 2 years in November, on November 6th this year, that we've been there. And we've grown that from, I think the first day we opened, we didn't really tell people we were going to be open. We just sort of popped up there and opened, and I think we fed probably 50 people. And now we have close to probably 1,000 people come through the bus every week. So
not to bring up a bad situation, but do you want to elaborate on how many times the bus ended up on a tow truck before we finally towed it into the lot?
Yeah, so we bought a bus which was a 1996 model Mercedes-Benz old school bus with 740,000 kilometres on the engine, and
it drove perfectly from Brisbane to Newcastle.
We spent $4,000 on a bus, so we just wanted really the shell, and we figured if we needed to put an engine in it we would. But over the next sort of 18 months of having the bus mobile, or 12 months of having the bus mobile, I think we put it on a flatbed truck probably 7 times, and a couple of different mechanics and a few other issues, and it wasn't reliable enough for us to say we're going to go to an event with the bus and make it. So the last straw, we're on our way out to Flavours of Mudgee 2017, and it was meant to be the bus's first big event was Flavours of Mudgee 2017, and anyway we ended up breaking down just the other side of Denman, and put it on a truck, bring it back. I basically unloaded the bus, unloaded everything else into a trailer, which is what we call a redneck trailer now, which is our car trailer, which is covered in corrugated iron. And we went out there. I ended up getting out there about midnight on the Friday night, cooked, and then we served. I think we served about 800 plates of food at our first Flavours of Mudgee, and and then basically from September the 23rd of that year till November the 6th, we were looking for a place to park the bus, and we sort of settled somewhere in Newcastle, and then we were driving. We actually had found a cafe that we were going to lease, and we had filled out the paperwork to lease that. And then on the way home from signing that paperwork, we drove past the lot, and we felt that was a lot better for us. We took a U-turn, we came back, and we thought, well, we already had a kitchen, an approved kitchen on a food truck.
And we'd already paid pretty much all of our savings and everything. So when people are starting out and they see us and think, hey, you're going gangbusters, I will say we've had definitely our hard times.
Yeah, we were pretty tapped out. Didn't have a lot, to the point where we moved into a shed to try and keep ourselves afloat. But it's been fun. We've met some amazing people. We've done some amazing events, and basically, I guess from the first experience of barbecue I had in Texas, which is very family orientated, cooking around the fire, different family rubs and secrets that they use, to what we do now are still very similar.
Yep.
There's a couple of other little techniques that we use now because we've probably streamlined it a little bit, as opposed to just cooking 1 or 2 briskets. We're filling up Jolene a couple of times a week.
That's Jolene behind us.
Yeah, so probably the most photographed smoker in Australia, but she's a big pit that can hold a lot of meat and serves us a purpose. So she's actually cooking now for tomorrow, so it's Wednesday afternoon, and we've got a full of briskets and butts and beef ribs for service tomorrow at the lot.
Yep. So I'll just ask Rob a couple of barbecue questions real quick, and then we'll wrap up the first episode, and then hopefully next week we'll shoot another one. So Rob, let me know how much better you think Texas barbecue is. I'm from Texas, by the way. Is compared to your Canadian barbecue experience or any other barbecue?
So my first barbecue experience was Canada. When I finished at Dartbrook Coal, when I was my first coal mining experience in Australia, I moved to Canada, and I went to a house party that was having a barbecue, and they did a turkey, and they did a brisket, and I had the first brisket taste, and it was terrible. It was dry, it was rubbery, it was smoky. They loved it, and that's how they have it, but it probably turned me off barbecue for the next little bit. When I met Randy, it was one of probably the first conversations that we had about going to Texas and experiencing, Texas football, Dallas Cowboys, and barbecue, tailgating, and those sorts of things really sort of came to mind from our first conversations that we had. So,
and he was anti everything that I love. Just for the record, he was like, "Oh yeah, blonde American chick and your barbecue. I don't want that." So,
well, it's not quite
when
true.
you get to Texas.
But we got to Texas, and then I remember, I think we went out to a couple of barbecue joints, more chain barbecue joints with the family, Rudy's and Old Pit Barbecue in Fort Worth.
And then when my dad...
And then Melvin, Randy's father, cooked in the backyard, ribs and a few other things. It's sort of the whole stoking the fire, tending the fire, rubbing the meat, the secret recipes that they have as a family. Really sort of opened my eyes to what barbecue could be. And then we obviously moved back to Australia, and you couldn't really find anything in Australia that was barbecue. If it was sort of American barbecue ribs, it was sort of boiled in a pot and slathered with sauce. And so
at the time I was having babies, and so all I wanted was my food from home. So constantly looking for barbecue, Mexican, anything that reminded me of home. And it just was always disappointing.
Sort of didn't hit
no
the mark.
No offense to anyone out there that I ate with, but it just wasn't.
It was good, but it wasn't home. So we set out about changing things, and we built our first smoker in the backyard at Mudgee, and that's Little Blue. That's the smoker that's still on the food truck now in Islington. We're trying to get our 1,000-gallon cooker down there, Big Tex, but it's proving a little bit difficult, but we're sort of working towards that. But Little Blue's still doing the job for us at the moment. But yeah, that's probably the difference. I think the Texas barbecue that I fell in love with was cooked at a high temperature for a long period of time, really renders that fat down, creates a juicy product, melt in your mouth, you get that sugar cookie crust that people talk about.
Yummy.
And so yeah, that's probably the biggest difference. It's not overly smoky, like my first experience in Canada. So it's more barbecue as opposed to smoking.
So Rob, in our journey, and especially every time I seem to go back home to the States for a visit, we seem to acquire a few more smokers. How many smokers and grills do you think we currently own?
We got a few. We've got 2 big cookers at the moment, and then a third one that's going to be built to be unveiled at Meat Stock in Melbourne in 2020.
And I'm sure the build will be on our channel, so again, subscribe. You'll see.
Oh, that one's a secret. That one won't be unveiled until Meat Stock 2020. It's part of the deal I've got with Jay.
Okay.
But certainly Jolene, we can cook for 3,000 people out of Jolene. Big Tex is a 1,000-gallon cooker that came from Texas. We shipped it over on a 20-foot shipping container with a bunch of other stuff. We've got the original Redneck smoker on the Redneck trailer, which was built by Chris Munzenberger and myself here in Singleton. We've got Little Blue. We've got Manhorn trailer pit that we bought off Keith Sutherland for our little comp pit and smaller weddings and things like that.
Got a Baby Weber here somewhere.
We've got a Baby Weber. We've got our cowboy cookers.
And
we've got our Pitts and Smiths pellet smoker.
Pellet smokers. Those are for all the people out there who are watching this who are interested in smoking but don't want to wake up every 20 minutes at night. I love my Pitts and Smiths pellet smoker.
Set and forget and go to bed.
It's amazing. But I just love Jolene too.
So we've got a few, yeah.
Now, what has been your favorite memory so far along our journey?
I think my favourite memory was going to the airport the first time I flew up to pick up the bus.
Yep, that was wow.
That was sort of the real start. That was the point of I'm never playing with marquees again. I'm never going back to having a marquee set up. It was like a massive step forward to being this temporary food store with a 3x3 marquee or a 6x3 marquee to having a food truck with a kitchen on wheels that was going to be approved in Newcastle, and I was going to travel. I was going to take over the world with a food truck. And then that was probably the biggest moment. And then the second one would have been Meat Stock 2018 with the family up on stage after we won Grand Champion. Having everyone there, the whole team. We've got pretty much an extended team for our barbecue team with a lot of different people that come and help us out, and we try and really grow barbecue. So there's people that have started their own teams now that sort of joined us on their journey at the start to sort of learn how to do it, and we sort of open ourselves up to do that because we like to grow barbecue. That moment was probably the best one. Having Randy and the kids there and being up on stage and winning Grand Champion was a pretty big highlight.
If you've visited us at an event or been to the lot or been to Smoke and Broke or Meat and Mudgee, we kind of run barbecue as an experience, and there's a saying is mi casa es su casa, and so like our barbecue house is your barbecue house. If you have a question or anything, we're always willing to help and talk barbecue or kids or anything else. So
we probably get 4 or 5 Facebook messages a week on what rubs do I use on beef ribs. I had 3 blokes from Brisbane Barbecue Festival ring me up and ask me what rubs I use on the beef ribs, and it's just salt and pepper. But then I guess the other thing is we use iron bark, and it's just time. They're ready when they're ready,
All right, one more question for this one, I think. And I'll say, because we are known mainly for our brisket, other than brisket, what's your favorite piece of meat to cook?
Favorite? I don't know. Probably, the easiest would be beef ribs. Probably the favourite though. The we cook on the bus, or do we cook in general?
That you cook in general. What do you enjoy?
I've really enjoyed cooking the steak cook-offs at the moment with the SCA. I think it's something different. It's pretty much a level playing field with the fact that everyone gets given the same cuts of steak. You're not going to a brisket comp with a $400 brisket versus a $60 brisket. We are outside, guys, so the camera's waving a bit. But yeah, probably the steak cook-offs. And then anytime I get to do something a little bit different outside the square, so whether it might be a side of salmon, whole hogs, that sort of stuff that we don't do very often, but when we're asked to do them, they're good fun. You know, it's something different that we're not doing. You know, week in, week out, we smoke heaps of brisket, pork butts, chicken, sausage, beef ribs and stuff like that. So when we're asked to do something out of the ordinary, like a whole hog or a side of salmon, a bit of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching our first one. I'm sure that we will get better at the whole video thing, but we appreciate your time if you sat through the whole thing, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Be sure and subscribe, like our page on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and if you ever need anything about barbecue, give us a shout.
If you're barbecuing, you should be drinking a beer. Cheers, guys.